everyone, yes it is that time, it is I, and we're going to do a six-pack of action franchises. Aren't you excited? Yes folks, it was a viewer suggestion from way back, finally getting to it, figuring with the Fast 5 coming out, what better week to do this in. Now, some of my criteria was, I tried to stay away from the sci-fi, and the movie franchise had to have more than 3 movies in it. So more than 3 movies, not sci-fi or horror or along that lines, okay? And that was my criteria. And first up is the Dirty Harry franchise. How better way to start the week off? Yes, folks, Dirty Harry franchise. Clint Eastwood bring us this iconic, badass character, the cop, the kind of rogue cop who would cut through the bureaucracy with his magnum in order to bring true justice because the system is flawed. And that was the theme in the first Dirty Harry, 1971. We're introduced to Dirty Harry, the really badass cop who could pull off a tweed suit, who's in pursuit of a serial killer who's bringing terror across the city, okay? And due to bureaucracy and the flaws in the system, this serial killer actually gets away with it at one point, but Dirty Harry won't have none of it, and he follows the guy, and well, you've got to see the movie to see the outcome, but needless to say, Dirty Harry is the movie that set Harry Callahan as an iconic action figure, one of the originals, one of the original one-liner guys, because after all, in Dirty Harry, that's where it came. Did he fire 5 shots or 6? You know, that line. So that came from there. Now you know where it came from, and you should put it on your list to see it. Now, following up to that in 1973 was Magnum Force. Story of a vigilante cop going around killing guys who have been able to sneak through the system, okay? Now, this is a theme where, again, we're hitting at the, you know, the justice system is flawed, Dirty Harry is old school, you've got new school with new bureaucracy, but you also get that conflict in Dirty Harry because that part of him, you know, you get the vigilante cop thing going on, so he's dispensing justice, the vigilante is, but not necessarily exactly how Dirty Harry would go around about it. He's dirty, but not that dirty, okay? Still, fantastic, solid script, great sequel to the original, and Dirty Harry once again being a badass self. Decent follow-up to the original. Now, we go on to The Enforcer, a story of this group of kind of environmental hippie Vietnam soldier terrorists kidnapping the mayor, and taking him to Alcatraz, and Dirty Harry's now given a female partner, first time in the series that he's done that, played by Tyne Daly, excuse me, Tyne Daly, and so you've got the conflict of genders in there, Dirty Harry being old school, you know, leathery cop who doesn't really, you know, has some old-fashioned ways of thinking for women, and, you know, Tyne Daly representing the new woman of 1976, since this Enforcers did come out in 1976. Now, the script of the main plot is kind of just disjuncted. They're not really solid bad guys. The first 2 movies, you really had some good solid bad guys. This one, they're weak, they're flat, and they're just kind of there. The real story is the conflict between Dirty Harry and his female partner. And unfortunately, this doesn't end on a happy note. Also, it ends kind of weird, involving a very large explosion for some reason. I didn't quite like this at all, folks. So, whereas Dirty Harry and Magnum Force were top on my list, 2.5 stubs for The Enforcer, okay? It's the weakest of the 3, and really I thought they could have did a better job. It started out strong, but ended really weak. Now, we move to 7 years later. Dirty Harry gets behind the camera, and Clint Eastwood directs and produces Sudden Impact. Yes, it's the movie that brought Dirty Harry to a new generation with his line, "Go ahead, make my day." Yes, that's where it came from, and this time he's with Pat Hingle and Sandra Lockey, who plays a woman bent on revenge for a very nasty incident that happened to her and her sister back when she was younger. She's on a, you know, steamrolling trip to revenge, and it's Dirty Harry's job to capture her. And at the same time, though, he's kind of conflicted again because, you know, she is kind of dispensing justice to guys who deserve it, but maybe not exactly how he wanted to go about it. The backstory or theme with this shows that Dirty Harry's actions have a lot more consequences. There's even more bureaucracy, and so we've got the, you know, the original themes kind of back in this movie. And Sudden Impact is a very decent sequel. I gave it 3.5 stubs for that one. And finally, rounding it out, the 5th shot in the Dirty Harry series is none other than Deadpool, 1988, and it continues the storyline with Dirty Harry and bureaucracy and him just not fitting in with the new police system, okay? Only this time, he's on the list as there is a Deadpool, a list of celebrities who these filmmakers just, put together. They're trying to bet which celebrity is going to die first. Well, the celebrities start dying off a la a serial killer, and Dirty Harry's name is on the list, hence putting the mark on his back. Now, in this one, you can look for Liam Neeson in there, as well as Jim Carrey playing a drugged-out rocker, lip-syncing to Welcome to the Jungle, and his scene in there where he meets his demise is kind of bad, because I've seen a lot of his comedies, so when you see him making his faces in that, you're almost wanting to laugh, because they're almost his comic faces. But it's good to see him in there in one of the movie films. It's still a solid script. It's fun to see Dirty Harry. He's still in the 80s, his suit and his getup, he's still all leathery, carrying the big-ass gun, and still taking names. And I gave it 3.5 stubs. So there you have it, folks. That is the Dirty Harry franchise, and I'm so excited. Stay with us this week, as tomorrow I've got another whole franchise for you to look at. And until next time, folks, keep that ticket stub.